troublemaker. I've been a late night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker. Taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make a shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stopping, let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sang. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger. Make my Jaeger just a little.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Sports Buzz, a Fanatical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this September 12th. It is. We missed 9/11 by a day. We weren't here to make any mention of that, but it's a day that everybody knows and pays attention to. We certainly did. But we are here a day later, 9/12. You know, pretty miserable day out there, kind of humid and a little rainy, whatever. But summer so far is still lingering and doing pretty good. I think the weather this weekend might be all right. I am here in studio till 7 without my right-hand man or some technical things happening on the screen that I'm not sure of. Or are we Skyping Bob in? Because Bob is not here, but no, we're here. And Bob is out, and we have a little fill-in for him. As we teased last week, if you were listening, you would know that our audio guy, Mr. Tyler over here, is now out in the studio behind the camera in the hot seat. So let's say hello.
Hello.
How you doing there, Tyler?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Not too bad. Tyler's excited to be on.
Yes, I am.
Doing a good job with us with the audio. We'll see how he does here. We know he's also excited. His Saints had probably the game of the week, really, Monday night with the great finish at the end.
Yeah, it was a great game. I loved it.
Yeah, so that was good. So we know he's excited about that. And he's enjoying the positive vibrations of Fatty Roots in the studio speakers out over the loudspeaker. So that's always good. And but anyway, so Tyler, what's going on? How you doing there? You comfortable in Bob's seat? Is Bob?
Yeah, it's very comfortable from
Tyler,
Bob.
you have to keep those headphones on in case David gives you any instructions.
Well, yeah, nothing much. Just the Saints game was very frustrating to watch, but until the end.
Until the end. 58-yard field goal at the end, and they came through. They were down early in that game, and they did come back. We'll get into that in a minute. Let me just finish up what we're talking about. Bob not here, but his show, Spotlight On, of course, Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. You can find plenty of good things on his show. And El Diablo, DJ Malo Darkness is the director. And of course, we're live. So it's 203-792-4101 is the number if you want to call. We'll see if Strange Man gets on the line this week again. He's been a pretty regular these days. Anybody else out there want to call? We are here until 7. 203-792-4101 is the number. I suppose at some point I'll have to even talk to Tyler about his Yankees doing well, which I don't really want to talk about, but I will have to do that as well with Tyler. Tyler's in here today with a Saints hat and a nice Jamaican soccer shirt.
I'm repping Jamaica soccer.
He is fronting us up with the Reggae Boys, speaking of positive vibrations, with Fatty Roots in the background, so repping that very well. NFL is underway tonight. Again, week 2. Tampa Bay at Carolina. 2 teams 0-1. The Panthers lost a tight game at home, I believe that was, to the Rams, 30-27. And the Bucs got beat up by the 49ers as the Jimmy G era resumes after last year's, false start when he got injured right away in San Francisco and missed all of last year, but he's back, and they beat Tampa 31-17. So that's the game tonight. Of course, there's big action, big news. It's been the Antonio Brown story for the last 2 weeks, and it took a crazy turn this past weekend when he was caught ultimately by the Raiders and quickly signed by the Patriots, which was a big news story. And then on Tuesday, news comes out that he is now being accused of in a civil lawsuit, not a criminal lawsuit, which raises some eyebrows for sure. Why is it not criminal, and why is the accuser only going after a monetary thing against him? A former trainer of his, a girl that he was friends with in college, accusing him of sexual misconduct, rape, basically, among a couple other things. So that really changed the storyline for his, will maybe be a debut this weekend in Miami. We don't know if he will play or not. We gotta wait and see on that. What will the NFL do? Will they, take a wait and see attitude, or will they jump in ahead of time?
In my opinion,
what do you think there, Tyler? You think he's gonna play?
I don't think he's gonna play, but I think they're not gonna keep him off for a long time. They're only gonna have him not playing for like maybe a game or so.
Well, they could, they could ease back. I mean, it's the Dolphins who got crushed this past weekend. Baltimore put up 50-something points on them this weekend. So we know the Dolphins are not a real tough test. The Patriots played tremendous at home against the Steelers, 33-3 on Sunday night as they raised the banner. So they could go down to Miami without Antonio Brown and certainly win. They have had trouble historically, especially these early season games in Miami, their rival. But this year's Dolphins, I don't think pose much of a test, despite the fact that the Patriots have had trouble playing down there, especially when it's warm. So they could hide behind all that and just say, we just signed him, he's not up to speed yet, he's got to learn the playbook, and we need to wait and see, and they could go without him for this week. You kind of think maybe that'll be the case?
Yeah, I think that, but because Antonio Brown, he's a great player, but when you're talking something that he does wrong, I think right there you have a problem. So maybe hold him off for a game, because if they held him off for a long time, that would hurt the Patriots.
And it's interesting, his agent has come out and said that they knew that this accusation and civil case was coming down the pike. The question is, did the Patriots know that and sign him anyways?
No, they did not know that.
You don't think they knew?
Came from the Raiders.
Seems like that's a thing they should have known. I mean, was his agent and Antonio Brown keeping this from both the Raiders and then any suitors who were after his services once he was cut? That seems to be a little bit shady, that they would not be putting that out saying, before you go ahead and sign me or before you go ahead and cut me, you should be aware of the fact that this thing's coming down the pike. You would think teams would want to know that before signing. So that's a little bit shady. If they didn't know, and they did, the Patriots went ahead and traded Demaryius Thomas to the Jets right after the signing. So, if they can't ultimately have Brown on the team and they went ahead and traded him, another viable receiver that they will not have at their service, that's also a blow to the Patriots if this does not work out. But they knew taking the risk with him anyways, because he's a head case and he's been crazy, especially this offseason with the Raiders, and the Steelers were certainly willing to let him go despite the numbers he's put up in the past. And it hurt the Steelers on Sunday night if you look at what took place in the game, as the Patriots just mauled the Steelers 33-3. The Patriots defense coming off the Super Bowl championship where they only gave up 3 points in the Super Bowl, and they've retooled even a little bit more. I think their defense is going to be pretty solid this year, and they were lights out against the Steelers on Sunday night. So it's certainly interesting. It gives a lot of fodder to the Patriot haters. Haters going to hate.
What do you know? Haters hate.
And they're going to do that. And I don't know. I think people are, it's a new level of fatigue, a new level of tiredness of the Patriots. First, they were tired of the Patriots getting another big-time player. It's really the Randy Moss redux. And the Patriots did not win the Super Bowl with Randy Moss. They did go 18-0 before losing that Super Bowl against the Giants. And it's interesting because Moss left Minnesota and ended up in Oakland before going to New England. Brown never played for any games for Oakland, but that's where he went, leaving Pittsburgh after a good career there. So it is really a redux. But I don't know. It's interesting. Speaking of the Jets, did you see any of this, Tyler, on Sunday? Up 16-0 at home against the Bills.
Yup.
Before
I remember that score, yeah.
Before blowing it and losing that game 17-16. I mean, that is a big time ouch. First year with the new coach, Adam Gase. And you got another former Steeler, Le'Veon Bell. Things were looking good when he scored the touchdown and caught the 2-point conversion. And everybody was going nuts. The defense scored a touchdown early for them to give them that early lead. They had problems with the kicker, their field goal and extra point man. And that was something we talked about last week. We knew that was going to be a problem. And then they also had the injury with C.J. Mosley, who we see right here, scored the defensive touchdown early. He went out, and all of a sudden the Bills, and this happened as well under the new head coach, big penalties kept drives alive, which got the Bills in a situation to get off the schneid, get a field goal to cut it to 16-3, and then they rallied beyond that and ended up rallying to win 17-16.
That's a good win right there.
Yeah, big time good win for the Bills. And these two teams are kind of similar, although the Bills have had more success making the playoffs recently, whereas the Jets have not. And I think the Bills are the team that has a little. And how about this? The Bills are in New York. Well, they're from New York because they're from Buffalo, but they get to stay and play in New York again against the Giants this week. 2 weeks in a row, they open at MetLife against the Jets.
Let's see
and
if
then
they can defeat two New York teams. They defeated one, now they got to defeat the second one.
Well, if you listen to the prognosticators, you would say the Jets are supposed to be better than the Giants. The Giants, of course, went down to Big D and got pummeled by the Cowboys 35-17, showed no signs of having any defense whatsoever. And, you know, so you would think the Bills have a good chance to start 2-0 with 2 games in the state of New York, but not at home. 2 road games against, their, in-state rivals, I guess you'd call them, the Jets and the Giants. That would be an amazing start for the Bills. And it was also interesting. I was shocked, really, that the Giants, especially considering the fact that fans probably are done with Eli. They want Daniel Jones' era to probably start sooner than later, that they got themselves into a situation where they went to garbage time and had Daniel Jones play in week 1. Were you surprised to see something like that go down? Don't you think they should have held him out, considering there's a potential quarterback controversy looming?
Yeah, I think that.
And, that's probably a little bit of a risky move to, in week 1, to go ahead and bring in the new rookie in that type of situation. So, but they did, and now we'll see what happens with Eli going up against the Bills, and we'll see how that plays out. The Jets get to play on Monday night. So this is a game, it's the 100th anniversary. Yep. They're doing some historical matchups. They did the Bears versus Packers, which turned out to be a snooze fest Thursday night to open it. Packers did win that game. So the Browns are at the Jets. The Browns, of course, had a lot of hype. And you might be thinking, well, they're just getting the Browns on Monday night. But this is actually the first ever Monday night football game that was ever played, took place between the Browns and the Jets when Joe Willie Namath was part of the Jets. So that's a little homage to that. That's the reason why we have this in week 2 here. Browns at Jets. So the Browns are supposed to be this team. They got OBJ, a couple other moves maybe, and they're supposed to be this team that's going to win their division, make the playoffs. And what do? In week 1, they get thumped by the Titans, 43-13.
Even with Odell, still lose.
What is the deal with Odell wearing a watch? All right, so you're talking to a person who anytime he ever stepped on a basketball court, if he saw somebody wearing a watch or any jewelry whatsoever, said, no, the game's not starting until the jewelry was removed, because that is actually a weapon when you're playing a sporting event. I have been caught badly by a watch in a little wrestling match one time. And, you can't wear jewelry or watches.
I don't know what he was thinking about that.
I mean, it's obviously some fashion thing he's gotten paid for, where somebody gave him that watch, who he's claiming is $250,000 watch that's made of plastic.
And he would just wear it to a football game.
If it's made of plastic, it's not worth $250,000.
Yeah, he's definitely
that's ridiculous. And if it's made of $250,000, why are you wearing it in a football game where it can get damaged?
Yeah.
And he's going at the NFL saying they're coming after me. It's only because of who I am. They're saying I can't wear the watch. Nobody can wear watches on in any sporting event, especially a physical, full contact sporting event. So that's ridiculous. And he should be worrying about his team getting thumped. And it was great after that game. Delanie Walker, the tight end for the Titans, brought up the old Denny Green, former Bears and Arizona Cardinals quote, "We knew who they were. They were who they thought they were, and we crowned them." Great quote after the game, which I just botched, but whatever. Good job by Walker pulling that out when they beat the Browns. So I don't know. What do you think? The Jets bounce back? Browns bounce back? Who's going to win this game?
The Browns could possibly bounce back with OBJ maybe making a comeback or something, maybe a touchdown or something. But it's fair to the Jets and the Browns. They both have a share. Jets have Le'Veon Bell and they have him to go up against, and then the Browns have OBJ. So we'll see.
And Brady, or who's the quarterback for the Browns, who I believe came into the game last year. Was it that his first game? I know they beat the Jets last year, and I know it was in a rally situation. I believe it was the game where they unleashed him in the game and brought him out to start his career with the Browns, which has kind of led to this hoopla in the offseason and everybody picking the Browns. So we'll see. One of those two teams needs a win after that real disappointing. The Jets would hate to go 0-2 with both their games at home to start the season, one against a rival and one on prime time on a Monday night. So the Jets really need to dig down. Their defense was decent, but again, big injury to Mosley, and they also lost Quincy Enunwa, the wide receiver, is out for the year. So we'll see how that plays out. And we mentioned the Bills at the Giants. The Giants look like they're just going to be a bad team this year. I don't know. I was feeling like maybe they'd be better than what they were, but if their defense is going to play the way they did against the Cowboys.
Yeah, the Giants' defense, they're not good. They're not looking good at all.
And, Golden Tate's suspension for the first 4 weeks certainly hurts them. So we'll see how that goes. Other games of note from the past weekend, of course. All right, let's get to your Saints. So you were frustrated and then excited.
Yes, it was very frustrating. Literally, in the first half, when the Saints lost the lead, I was just like, oh goodness, let's not do this now. And then they
were
picked
down.
it up. Yep, they picked it up, and then.
So it was the interesting scenario at the end of the first half. 36 seconds left. They get the ball, and they basically do exactly what they end up doing at the end of the game, driving and attempting a 56-yard field goal. They had that opportunity there, and the Texans kind of played it the same way. They didn't really. They played, for some reason, for them like they were going long for a long touchdown instead of guarding against letting them set up for a long field goal. So at the end of the game, the Texans come down, great pass, unbelievable play by Deshaun Watson and the Texans to take the lead with 37 seconds left. But they do the same thing. They go in the prevent defense instead of guarding for the short pass, which ends up leading to the 58-yard field goal attempt.
And they miss.
And bam, this is after he misses the extra point. The Texans did, but there was the penalty, which was a little questionable. But he did run into the kicker, which led to them getting the 1-point lead. And then the Saints. So did you think he was going to all right, so Tyler, here's the news. McFadden will not be making it, the Met Maniac. So you're in here on your own for the rest of the show. But did you think he was going to bang home that 58-yarder?
I was very uncertain at that moment because, in my opinion,
that's a long kick.
Yeah,
Indoors.
I thought they were gonna miss it, and the Texans, they missed it. But then for the Saints, they made it.
Yeah.
And I was like, thank God. Because if he didn't make it, that would look bad on the Saints. Because
Right.
the home advantage, everyone's pressuring him.
Yeah, so at the end of the first half, they didn't get to take that kick because there was a 15-second runoff. There was that was a dubious situation. So everybody was thinking, the last time we saw the Saints was in the NFC Championship where they got robbed by the officials.
Yeah.
And then there was some bad call by the officials again at halftime, which robbed them a chance of that field goal. So now you got, looking ahead, the game of the week, Saints at Rams, a little payback perhaps.
Yep.
And we saw the Rams beat the Panthers. Is that the phone ringing? Yes?
Yep.
Yes, it is. All right. Hello, you are live and on the air. This is Sports Buzz.
What's up, Mr. Scott?
Oh, is this Mr. Big Bob?
It is.
Hey there, Bob. How you doing? Sneaking out of teaching.
I'm at my daughter's school. We're doing, her open house, so I only got a few minutes in between breaks, so.
Okay, you want to make a quick comment about your Giants, or do you want to talk more about something positive in your Mets?
The way to start the season, right?
They've started the season 2-7 the last 2 years in a row. Is that true?
Yeah, they might start that. Might do it again this year.
Wow. They did not look good down in Dallas. But your Mets,
No.
Bob, we're going to transition to baseball in a second. Maybe since you only got a minute, you want to talk about your Mets. 11-1 victors today.
Yeah.
So they moved to
They're starting to come back. So
76 and 70. The Cubs have fallen, are actually even, I guess, with the Brewers, or maybe the Brewers have the tiebreaker, I think. So 68 is the loss column for the Brewers and the Cubs, 77-68. Your Mets now 77 and 70. So really within range, Bob. And the Brewers lost Yelich to a fractured kneecap, and the Cubs seem to be treading water or taking on water and falling.
Yeah.
So you're right there, Bob. We keep writing your Mets off, but they don't go away.
Keep winning,
Big 4-game sweep of the Diamondbacks, who had been the hottest team in baseball the last 2 weeks, and you completely shut them down and probably knocked them out of the race, although they're only 1 game in the loss column behind you. But wow, 4 games sweep. You got what, the Dodgers this weekend?
Yeah, that's a real tough one. I mean, if we can win 2 out of those games, we'll be happy.
Yeah. So it's not over yet, as they say, and the Amazons still got time. What are we down to? 5 minutes?
Yep.
All right. So we only got 5 minutes left in the show, Bob.
Okay.
But we appreciate you calling in. You got anything else you want to touch on real quick?
Not much. Let's see. The Vespucci's got a car show this weekend.
Okay.
I might be there. I may not. It depends on what goes on for this weekend.
Is that Saturday or Sunday?
And then, of course, and then we have another show. Of course, we got the reunion coming up in October. So.
Yeah, we'll talk about that more next week. But is the car show this weekend Saturday or Sunday?
Sunday, 11 to 3.
At Vespucci Lodge. Okay. All right, well, we got a few other things to get to. Tyler's been sitting in, doing an okay job, but I want to talk about a few more things. And
way to go, fill in for us this week,
That's it, 1 week only, and then Bob will take his chair back, Tyler. Don't get too comfortable over there.
I'm not going to get too comfortable, Bob.
All right, Bob.
All right, take care. Have a good weekend.
All right, bye. All right, so we're inside 5 minutes. Man, the show's moving fast. Some games this weekend. Vikings at Packers, Seattle at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh really needs to get off the schneid. Seattle had a dicey win against a supposedly bad team, the Bengals. Indy at Tennessee. Tennessee with the big win over the Browns. Indy looked pretty good against San Diego, even though they fell up short. Kansas City at Oakland. Oakland shocked Denver. Everybody thought they'd be dead and buried after this whole saga with Brown. Chicago at Denver. Chicago looked terrible against the Packers. And Saints-Rams, as we mentioned. All right, only a few minutes left. USA basketball out. They have been eliminated in the quarterfinal, lost to France, and then they backed that up with a disappointing loss to Serbia today in the 5th place game.
I'm very surprised that Team USA is not doing well.
They were up by 7 with 7.5 minutes to go in that game, and they ended up losing by 10 to France. So they faded fast in that game, really went out hard. U.S. Open wrapped up this past weekend. Bianca Andreescu, wow, what a performance against Serena. 6-3 in the first. She was up 5-1 in the second, and she had championship point. Serena fought that off to break her at 5-2, and then reeled off 3 more wins to make it 5-5. And you had to think at that point, there is no way this teenager in her debut at the U.S. Open is going to recover from this, blowing it nearly, but she does. She holds serve at 6-5 and then breaks Serena to win the U.S. Open at 7-5. Unbelievable. Tremendous performance by her. And Rafa was up 2-0 against Daniil Medvedev, another youngster. And Medvedev somehow dug deep to force a 5th set and was at 2-2, 40 love on serve, and he blew it. Rafa ran off 5 straight points to break him, and then that was it as he won the 5th set 6-4. But great job by Medvedev. Great tournament this year. There was different storylines, different upsets, different things happening on a day-to-day basis. Really good tournament, I think. But Rafa pulls to within 1 of Roger Nadal for the all-time lead. Are we inside a minute?
Yep, we're inside a minute.
All right, MLS, a couple news. NYCFC is now in first place. Questionable game, red card against the Revs. They did get a goal to win it 2-1 in the 96th minute. Tough loss for the Revs. Revs are still in playoff position. And then, of course, Poppy was back this past weekend throwing out the first pitch, which took away the cloud over the Red Sox, who have been eliminated from the AL East. Not eliminated from the wild card, but they are dead and buried. Dombrowski, winner of 3 straight AL East pennants, winner of the World Series, most wins by any team in baseball the last 3 seasons. His reward for that, he's fired. Red Sox got rid of their general manager on Sunday night after that game. All right, we're out of here. Tyler, great job.
Thank you. I was glad to be on the show tonight.
You did fantastic. We'll have you back some other time.
All right. Sounds good.
We will be back next week. Take care.
Bye.